Okay, what I'd like to discuss over the next few minutes is something particular to a lot of HGV companies now, or LGV if you want to use that terminology, and including some cars and van fleets, is the system of telematics, vehicle telematics. People know it by different names. Microlight systems, Blue Tree, Ofcom. There's several different companies supply vehicle telematics. Seems to be a bit of a division with a lot of drivers on the benefits, the use. Does it actually help with driving? Is it a hindrance to driving? Is it the Big Brother scenario? Several different things involved. But basically, the system is all about drivers driving vehicles correctly, driving them safely, and also the tracking of fleets. So, as I say, a lot of companies are now adopting a telematic system of whatever sort, and if it's used correctly, there's actual returns from fuel economy to start with can be as much as 15% on a vehicle fleet, which is quite a lot of money that you can save even when you pay for the system to be installed into vehicles. If the system is offering returns of say 15% on fuel savings alone, forgetting about the benefits to wear and tear on the vehicle, the benefits from safer driving, less infringements, you can see why companies are actually coming around to the fact that it's something that's valuable to them. So, like it or not, a lot of companies are now installing it into their vehicles. It's the Microlight or the Blue Tree or any telematic system. They all cover basically the same systems of the vehicles. Some of them are over revving. Does a driver over rev? The system will tell them if a driver over revs. How much fuel is the driver actually returning on a run? How much anticipation the driver's shown in regards to his normal driving? Is he racing up to hazards, roundabouts, junctions or whatever, or red lights, and then suddenly jamming his brakes on? Also harsh braking. Has the driver got a habit of harsh braking, which obviously puts stress on the vehicle, the load, also on the brakes, the wear and tear on the brakes. Other things can include the performance, the overall performance of the driver. Does he decelerate hard? Does he accelerate hard? How many times does he press the brake? So it covers a myriad of systems on the vehicle, and overall it'll give you a company a picture of how the vehicle is being driven, how the driver's behaving when he's driving the vehicle. And a lot of it also, if you look at the bigger picture, goes into companies saving on their emissions. If they've got a economy from the driver, then they're saving fuel, they're emitting less emissions. And as I say, they generally look on it as a system to save themselves money, save the environment, and also check on the safety. How safe is the driver? So, as I say, it covers a myriad of things, and whether you like it or not, or whether drivers like the system or not, the system does seem to be giving companies good returns, so they keep the system and they invest in the system. Obviously, it's not just for major companies. If you only run a small fleet, you know, even a 15% saving on your own vehicle, notwithstanding HGVs, even if you've got your own car, if you use the same type of system and you can save 15% in your fuel costs, that's quite a saving. And I think generally the system is seen as a very good system by drivers. Some companies also use it as a system to show drivers how well they're driving. And if the system's used correctly and if it's trained out correctly and you understand the system, you soon begin to come on board with how good the system can be. So one of the aspects I want to cover in the next few minutes is actually the anticipation phase. Anticipation is one of the biggest indicators of how safe a driver is when he's driving the vehicle. It basically measures the time taken between taking your foot off the accelerator and applying the brakes. Now, different companies will put a different metric on the amount of time taken. So some will restrict it to 5 seconds, some will say 7 seconds, some will say 2 seconds, and anywhere in between. And they'll mark it normally from A down to D with pluses and minuses. So you can have an A plus, an A minus, an A B plus, B minus. So what they do is they measure it on that scale, and it's basically the amount of time. It's quite simple. The amount of time between you taking your foot off the accelerator and pressing your brake, that is basically your anticipation. So if the company set a limit of 5 seconds, anything below 5 seconds will obviously affect your score and will be marked down as being under the expected criteria of the company. Anything above 5 seconds, if they've set it at 5 seconds, is seen as good anticipation. Now, in practice, for the safety point of view of anticipation is one of the major benefits for the actual driver. It may not seem it as at first glance, but if you're taking your foot off, if you're accelerating, then you remove your foot off the accelerator and there's 10 seconds between taking your foot off the accelerator and applying your brake. That's a lot of extra seconds you've got for observations, for space management, and basically for safety. If you're taking your foot off the accelerator and only leaving it 1 second, so you're basically only giving yourself 1 second between taking your foot off the accelerator, applying the brake, it's quite possible that you're racing up to hazards, you're racing up to traffic lights, and that's, first of all, it's wasting energy, it's wasting fuel, accelerating up to hazards when you know you're going to slow down again, and it's burning fuel for no good reason. So what a company will do is they'll measure that and they'll see how safe the driver is or how economical the driving is. Remember, the longer you can take between taking your foot off the accelerator and applying your brake, or leaving your foot off the accelerator for as long as possible, with it out of cruise as well, so you haven't got your cruise on, you haven't got your accelerator on, the vehicle's still in gear, the vehicle will still be in gear, but it's all free mileage. It's costing you nothing. Most engines now, most modern diesel engines, once you take your foot off the accelerator, they will cut, and when you're moving, they will cut all fuel either to a minimum or fully from the injectors injecting the fuel into your engine. So that's quite a lot of extra free miles that you could possibly get from your fuel, from the vehicle, from just using anticipation. Obviously, as I said initially, the other big thing on the safety is, if you're going to take your foot off the accelerator, give yourself plenty of time as you approach an obstacle, a hazard, or a junction. It's going to give you longer to look into the junction to anticipate things. You'll be able to scan the area for longer. It gives you a lot more time to think about your actions, think about what position you want to put your vehicle in, and it gives you longer to anticipate what other road users are going to do. Also, you're using the momentum of the vehicle or gravity to slow your vehicle down naturally. You're taking your foot off the accelerator, you're going along a straight road, and you allow the vehicle to roll, and she'll lose a lot of speed from the accelerator. This comes into a previous video I've made into acceleration sense, using your accelerator not just to accelerate, but also to slow your vehicle down. So in addition to all that time, you're also saving wear and tear on the actual brakes of your vehicle. Now, obviously the savings you can make, instead of having the brakes relined every couple of months, it can be quite a hefty bill. If you're using your brakes a lot less, notwithstanding that you possibly, if you're in an HGV, you've also got the exhaust brake to depend on, you're going to save yourself or your company quite a lot of money in actually getting the brakes relined. So there's a lot of good aspects in the anticipation system. There's no black art to it whatsoever. It's actually taking your foot off the accelerator, giving yourself a few seconds to evaluate what you want to do, think about your position, think about what decision you want to make. It gives you a lot more time. You're being less stressful on the engine, less stressful on your brakes, and you're placing less stress on your load. So, as I say, there's quite a lot of benefits in it. There's not a great deal that you can say about the anticipation, and I've seen drivers that will regularly return in excess of 10 seconds to 15 seconds from taking their foot off the accelerator to pressing the brake. So, as I say, there's no black art in it, and a lot of people can do it quite easily. With some other people, it takes a lot longer to grasp. However, it shouldn't do. It's quite an easy concept. Take your foot off the accelerator, leave it off the accelerator before you press your brake, and you'll get all that free energy of the vehicle. You can even increase the energy of the vehicle by possibly shifting a gear up and putting less stress on the engine. So if it's something you haven't practiced before, even if you don't use a telematics system, it's a good habit to get into, allowing yourself more anticipation. For instance, if you're coming to a red traffic light, what is the purpose? What purpose does it serve accelerating all the way up to that red traffic light, taking your foot straight off the accelerator, pressing the brake? You've wasted all that energy getting there, and you're using a lot more energy in slowing yourself down. So you're just wasting fuel. It's similar to putting the gas fire on in your living room or whatever, and you put the central heating on, or you put the fire on, and then you get the room nice and warm, and then you turn the fire off and you open the windows and you let all the heat escape. It's something you wouldn't do. So why use extra fuel in a vehicle when you don't need to? If you see a cascade of brake lights in front of you, or you see a car slowing down in front of you, instead of jumping straight on the brakes, take your foot off the accelerator, allow the vehicle, or take your cruise off and allow the vehicle to slow naturally. You should be giving yourself sufficient room anyway between you and vehicles in front to actually afford your time to do that. So that is basically, in a nutshell, what anticipation's about. As I said, no black art in it. Especially these days, companies are being requested by insurance companies to adopt telematics to actually measure the fitness or the safety aspect and how economical drivers use the vehicles. So it's a good system when you get used to it. It's just like anything else we are driving. It becomes a habit, and you'll find that with little or no thought to it, or with very little thought to it, you can actually get good returns from anticipation. So as I say, quite simple. It's the time taken from taking your foot off the accelerator to applying the brake. And safe trucking.